All right, guys. Continuing on with some more problems here on this Unit 1B review. Number 11, it says, when starting a hair salon, Debbie paid $7,700 for her equipment and supplies. It also costs her $3 per customer for a haircut. If she charges each customer $25, how many customers will she need to break even? Remember that break even problems mean that we're trying to find out when the money that she spends equals the money that she makes. And that's typically a good way to set these problems up, break even being the key word. So we need to find on an equation how much she spends and how much she makes. So Debbie spends $7,700 on equipment. The equation, or in the problem, seems like a one-time expense, so there's no need for a variable there. She also spends $3 on the customers per haircut. I want to say 3H. Okay, on the other side of the equation about how much money she makes, she charges $25 per haircut. Decimals in the problem, but really we don't need decimals in our equation. So now as we try to solve it, we need to isolate H, see how many haircuts she needs to make money, or at least get out of the red. So we get $7,700 equals 22H. In order to find H, we divide by 22. I'll do that on the screen here. Divided by 22. And that gives us 350. So she needs 350 haircuts. When she's given 350 haircuts at her price, she will be becoming profitable. All right, number 12. Says the length of a rectangle is 11 more than double the width. If the perimeter is 118, what are the dimensions of the rectangle? Okay, rectangle problem, anytime you're given a shape, rectangle, triangle, whatever, if you can replicate it, do that. Okay, and it doesn't matter really the measurements, just drawing a rectangle. All right, so rectangle, I like to just label these insides as length and width. So it says the length is 11 more than double the width. So we can label this side as 11 more than double the width, 2W plus 11. And I just like to make sure that I have that on all my lengths. And then it tells us that the perimeter is 118 and asks us what are the dimensions. Okay. So the trick about this is that it talks about the length, but it doesn't talk about the width. Okay. We, though, do use W for width. So we're saying W stands for width. We need to make sure that we label this side as W then. So the equation that we can write for this problem is 2, 4, 5, 6W plus 11 plus 11 plus 22 equals 118. Okay, this is the equation that we'll use to solve for the dimensions. So now I'm going to solve it. I'll subtract 22 from both sides. That leaves me with 6W equals 96. Divide by 6, and I find out the width is 16. So our width is 16. The question asks us for the dimension, so I need to find that. I'll use that length is 2W, so 2 times 16 plus 11. 32 plus 11 is 43. So my width is 16, my length is 43. Number 13 says the sum of 4 consecutive integers is 542. What are those integers? Okay, remember for this problem, if we're thinking about it, we could say like x plus y plus z plus w, 4 unknown things, equals 542. But we'd never be able to solve this. So what we can do is say, okay, if this is x, that next number has to be 1 more than x. That next number has to be 1 more than that, 2 more than x. The next number has to be 1 more than that, or 3 more than x. And all that together gives us 542. Okay, that's what the problem told us. So we can simplify that, write that equation on the line. 1, 2, 3, 4x plus 1, 3, 6 equals 542. And so with that equation, we can solve and find out what our integers are. So 4x equals 536. Divide by 4, we get x equals 1, 3, 4. And so x is 134, the next number will be 135, the next number will be 136, the next number should be 137. And always go back and check to make sure that your answer makes sense. Remember, integers aren't fractions, they're not decimals. It says consecutive, and you could even go and say, okay, does 134 plus 135 plus 136 plus 137 equal the number they said it would be? Yes, it equals 542. Okay, so make sure you go back and see that your answer makes sense when you submit it. Number 14 says the sum of three consecutive odd integers, notice odd here, is 1083. What is the largest integer? Okay, important, so that we're answering the correct question. Again, if we were thinking about this, we could say, okay, x plus y plus z equals 1083. But we would never be able to solve this because there's too many variables. So now we have to think about odd integers. I don't know what the integers are, so I'm just going to put some random ones here. 7, 9, 11. Okay, if I know the first one, x, how do I get to the next number without using a different variable? Well, odd numbers are 2 apart from each other. So to get from 7 to 9, I have to add 2. To get from 7 to 11, I'd have to add 4 to 7. Okay, and so now I've rewritten this in a way that I could possibly solve it. So now I'm going to simplify and write that equation on this line. Got 3x plus 2 plus 4 plus 6 equals 1083. 3x plus 6 equals 1083. Subtract 6 from both sides. 3x equals 1077. Divide by 3. And then I find that x is 3, 5, 9. Alright, that took me too long. I'm going to use my calculator just to double check. 1077 divided by 3, 359. Alright, great. So I find out that the x is 359, but the question asked me what the largest integer is. 359, 361, 363. So the answer to their question is 363. All right, number 15 is a rectangular problem, or a rectangle problem. It says the perimeter of the rectangle is 80 feet. If the width is 8 feet less than the length, what are the dimensions of the patio? So again, I'm going to draw my rectangle. It doesn't have to be anything specific. I like to measure or label my size, length, and width. Okay, and they told us that the perimeter is 80. Boom, all that information is there. Okay, they said the width is 8 feet less than the length. So I'm going to write this width as 8 feet less than the length. So the length minus 8 feet less than the length, or the width. Nope, I said it right the first time. So 8 feet less than the length, that's the width. I've labeled those two sides. Again, these problems are notorious for talking about one side and not the other. But we have to realize that we've already said L stands for length. So I'm going to use L to label the length side. So now I can use these labels, to find out what my perimeter is. Or not to find out, but to find out what each dimension is. L, 2L, 3L, 4L, minus 8, minus 8, minus 16 equals 80. So 4L minus 16 equals 80. Add 16 to both sides. 4L equals 96. Divide by 4. L equals 24. So the length of our rectangle is 24. The question asks us for the dimensions, so we need to find length and width. We can find width here by doing 24 minus 8, and that will give us 16. again, you can always go back and say, does my answer make sense? And you can do that by saying, okay, I got 2 lengths, I've got 2 widths, does that add up to my perimeter? And it does. Alright, just a few more problems here. Notice that I crossed out 18 and 19. Those are distance, rate, time problems. We did not cover that at this point of the year. Might come back to that later. Number 16, the comparison problem. 16 says Bill's weight is 2 more than triple Mark's weight. Together they weigh 326 pounds. How much does each person weigh? Okay, so just like our consecutive integer problems, if we just set this up with what they told us, we will never figure it out. Okay, they said Bill and Mark together, B plus M together, equals 326. Can't solve it, too many variables, but it does say Bill weighs 2 more than triple Mark's weight. So triple Mark's weight plus 2 is Bill's weight. And so what we can do is say, okay, instead of writing about Bill, let's just say, okay, since Bill is triple Mark's weight plus 2, let's use that expression or equation to solve for Mark's weight. So I'm going to simplify and write that equation up here. 4m plus 2 equals 326. 4m plus 2 equals 326. Subtract 2 from both sides. 4m equals 324. And I find out that m, as I divided by 4, equals 81. So Mark weighs 81 pounds. I can find out how much Bill weighs by doing 3 times 81 plus 2. 243 plus 2 is 245. Okay. And again, I can say, does this answer make sense with what our information is? 245 plus 81 gives us 326. All right. Number 17 says the sum of 4 consecutive even integers is negative 116. What are the integers? We've already kind of talked about how we're going to set this up, so I'm just going to go through it here. X be our first number. It's even, they're 2 apart. X plus 2 plus X plus 4, 3, plus X plus 6. So here are 4 integers, even, equals negative 116. From there, we're going to add like terms together. X, 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 4 X's. 2, 4, 6, 12. Equals negative 116. From there, 4x plus 12 equals negative 116. We're going to subtract 12 from both sides. We get 4x equals negative 128. Divide by 4, and we get x equals negative 32. Negative 32. So x equals negative 32. The next number we have to add 2 to. So we add 2, we get negative 30. Add 2 more, negative 28. Add 2 more, we get negative 26. Okay, a lot of people will do negative 32, negative 34, negative 36, negative 38, but realize that that's subtracting. Okay. All right, skipping these two, 18 and 19, going on to 20. Okay. Another comparison problem, it says the difference between Steve's age and Molly's age is 22. So difference means subtraction. If I subtract Steve minus Molly, that's 22. Okay, Steve is older. Then it says 3 less than double Molly's age is Steve's age. 3 less than double Molly's age is Steve's age. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of writing Steve here, we're going to say 3 less than double Molly's age. So double Molly's age minus 3, okay, minus Molly equals 22. So we're going to use this equation here as I simplify it and say m minus 3 right? Because 2m minus m is m minus 3 equals 22. Add 3 to both sides. And we get m equals 25. So Molly is 25 years old. Okay. Steve then would be S minus 22, or sorry, 25 equals 22. So I add 25 to both sides and find that Steve would be 47. Okay. So the question is, what's the sum of their age? Well, Molly's 25, Steve is 47. Add those two together, we get 72. So, 72 should be that answer. All right, hope that helped out. Good luck on your test.